What is going on, guys? Today we are going to look at some of the changes, some of the experiences, and ideas that I have after dumping, more than 50 hours into this game. I haven't seen a lot of videos talking about some of these issues, or not even issues, just changes, quality of life fixes, more so tip videos. So today we're going to cover some of that. Again, I love this game. I just want to preference this video off by saying that. But we're going to look at some things that I would like to recommend have changed, altered, just promote discussion. I think it's always fun to have these conversations about things that you enjoy or you're passionate about, even if it's only like theoretical. But yeah, so let's get into it. So the first point that I want to get into is going to be the crafting menus. So some of the changes that I would like to possibly see. If you're crafting something that requires lower tier materials that can be made within the crafting menu, it should either auto make them for you, such as, what do we have here? If there's something that requires string and you can craft that in your player or your manual crafting menu, it should auto create that to then make the higher item. If that makes sense. As well, some of these things that can be crafted within the crafting menu, you can see copper bars as a poor example, but you can see here that these require copper bars to be made. You should be able to click that and it will redirect you to that item if it is in the crafting interface, and there you can make the item. Another thing, when crafting, there's no craft X, make X of this item. You have to spam the spacebar. This isn't really an issue for crafting armor, weapons, kind of one-off things. But if you're making string, then you just sit there, spam the spacebar over and over again. So that's a small thing that I would like to see change, as well as withdraw X amount, split X amount from the stack, and so on. Another change I think that would be cool is when making recipes. We'll go over to the seed planter here. When using these resource makers, producers, whatever you want to call them, these utilities, you can browse your recipes, and here it says, okay, you need farm soil, purple berries, water. Cool, we'll select that. You should be able to, this function right here, you should be able to search your magic chests to then deposit into these resource producers. Upgrading armor. I think that this would be super cool to do. Currently, you don't have the option to, but it would be nice to have it function the same as the weapons do, where you can enhance them with runes. It'd be very cool to be able to enhance the armor set with runes. Because most people are probably experiencing the same thing, where I have like 10,000 runes, because you can only use them for weapons right now. So I think it would be really cool to be able to upgrade the armor with runes. Talking about armor as well, I think it would be nice to be able to salvage or break down the armor. So for weapons, you can salvage them and you get runes out of it. However, for the armor, pretty much just have to delete it. It would be cool to have the ability to salvage it, whether it's putting it in a furnace, going to the anvil, something, to either get runes or get metal scraps from the armor. Talking to the blacksmith, going to enhance equipment. When upgrading a weapon, you cannot upgrade with runes that aren't in your inventory. I don't really understand the logic behind it. I know it is early access game, but it would be nice to be able to enhance your equipment with runes that are stored in the magic chests. So I want to talk about the shroud. So deadly shroud, I think, is a weird mechanic. Yes, I understand it to like a certain degree, but at the same time, I don't agree with it. I think part of these RPG adventure games is being able to explore. If I want to go fight like a level 30 guy at level 10, I feel like I should be able to do that. If I want to go get one shot by him, yeah, so be it. I think it kind of ruins some of the fun out of it in the exploring and adventuring to have this weird mechanic of deadly shroud where it like practically just one-shots you, you walk into it. And I find like the indicator of the deadly shroud is kind of hard, you know, to make out. It's slightly red, purplish. However, if there's lava in normal shroud, sometimes with the lighting, it gives it a red hue as well. I just think it's a really weird mechanic. Once you get into like just out of the early game phase, you're pretty much stuck by this. Spend a lot of time farming ore. That's a whole nother issue. Farming all these materials to upgrade your altar, and then just to be cucked again by the deadly shroud within like 15 minutes. So yeah, I think like if there could be a change made to that, again, I'm not sure of the solution or even if it's a problem. But that's just my opinion on the matter. In this game, there are some recipes that are locked behind crafting materials to make them, which I think is, it's kind of weird. Like if I can make let's just see, like let's just say to unlock a huge magic chest, I have to make a huge chest. But if I already have these magic chests, why would I ever want to make these normal chests? But you have to make this to then unlock the huge magic chest, which is, I think, like a weird mechanic. Again, this is just an example. For these chests, this doesn't apply, but it could apply with something like making goo or glow dust, stuff like that. So I think that's really, really weird mechanic as well that I would like to see changed or altered. Having to make blocks to then build is very, very weird. You cannot build with the blocks if they're in your magic chest. They have to be in your inventory. But going to the crafting bench, making like weird specific blocks to then build. I get it where they have multiple different types of very specific blocks to build an aesthetic for your base. But again, I would like to see this kind of change or altered. It just feels weird. Talking about some of the combat, I personally feel that the stagger mechanic is very weird in this game as well. I feel like the player gets staggered very easily. But to stagger enemies is kind of hard. Some of the range guys, you could be smashing them with a two-handed sword, and then they just shoot an arrow in your fucking face, which isn't very fun. So I'd like to see that possibly altered a bit. Again, like I'm not a game dev or game designer, but I think that it just feels kind of weird right now how the stagger works. Also, I think adding dungeons or like raids to this game would be very cool, with like different mechanics and kind of forcing you to party up a bit or use different tactics within that dungeon. Again, the puzzle solving aspect is pretty fun, I think. So I think they have a lot of opportunity to do cool things with raids and dungeons. Talking about some of the food, I don't believe that your movement should be severely altered to the point where you cannot move when consuming your food for buffs, especially the ones that provide no healing aspect whatsoever to them. Like if I want to eat these or drink this water and I'm running, I can't right now, so I want to eat my meat to provide a constitution buff, a health increase, and I eat, my guy has to stop moving, which is I think it's just weird, feels clunky. Maybe if it slows your movement to like a slow walk, like when you're stuck in mud or deep snow, that'd be cool, but halting movement altogether, I think is just weird. Again, I'm going to be using that word an awful lot. Resource gathering. So in mining, whenever you hit a vein or like a resource node, it automatically goes into your inventory. However, cutting a tree, it does not. It gets dropped to the ground. I think this is a weird function. Sometimes it can be very hard to see, especially the things like resin, very, very hard to see. Sometimes it clips through the ground, and then you just have to go around and spam E on everything, which is just weird. If I cut down a tree, have it auto go into my inventory, or if I walk over it, then I auto loot it. As well, if you're in a town or a city and you're destroying barrels, vases, stuff like that, all that loot gets dropped on the ground. If you walk over it, I believe that you should pick it up instead of standing there running in circles and just spamming E for an extended period of time. I personally would like to see an increase in mob density. With that change, I believe that you would have to decrease aggro range of some of the mobs. However, I think the game is lacking a lot of mob density. I think there should be more mobs when randomly exploring, just in like weird parts of the world. Definitely needs to be some more mobs to kill. All right, so let's talk about arrows. I'm sure that all of the people who spec Ranger are probably encountering this issue. So for arrows, the resource demand is fairly high. A lot of the stuff you have to go out of your way to get, which is why I didn't primarily go Ranger, just because I already figured like, oh, that's more shit I have to farm just to make arrows, and then now I have this like weird resource consumable thing. So with some of these arrows, I think it would be cool or a good idea to either resource or reduce the cost of crafting, or add a mechanic where there's a certain percentage to refund an arrow when shot, or a percentage of the arrows fired can be then eluded from that mob killed, or something of the sort. Currently in the game, jumping while sprinting will cause you to consume no stamina, which is just weird. Of course, you have to time it right when you do have that glider, but it consumes no stamina. I think this is a weird mechanic. Obviously, they did not intend for this to be like this, so that would be a good change as well. Map changes. So I think some of the changes that I would like to see for the map allow me to zoom out more. So currently this is the max that I can zoom out, and I just wish that that was increased, because it's kind of annoying if I want to go over here to just drag the map. I'd like to see more of the map. Zooming in, you know, is fairly decent, so I have no problems with that. A legend, adding a legend or filters would also be nice to see. So if I just want to see all the flame shrines, if there's something over here that I can just click and it'll show me only highlight the flame shrines, that would be cool as well, or altars or wells and so on. So some of the resource gathering tools like wells, beehives, the loom, different stuff like that, I think should be unlocked at an earlier level. The planter box, the beehive, like I just unlocked that. I'm already like max level, and I'm pretty much done the majority of the quests. So I think having those unlocks just to set you up to get your base rolling at an earlier level would be nice to see, because now the game's almost complete and I still have so much farming to do. Again, I know it's early access, the game's not actually complete, but what we have access to right now is almost complete. The craftable gear definitely needs some love as well, possibly lowering resource requirement or making it available at a lower level, something in that direction. Because it may appear that when looking in the crafting menu, like, oh, it doesn't require that many mats. However, going to the smelter, like 20 tin ore, charcoal, and wood acid to get 1 tin bar. Like, that is ridiculous. And then to upgrade them to bronze, you have 3 tin, 7. Okay, it makes 10. Very cool. Here, 20 to make 10. Like, yeah, okay, like, kind of get it. Copper's not too bad. And then iron ore, yeah, 10 for 10. Cool, not a problem whatsoever. Definitely think that this needs some TLC for sure. And again, guys, these are not game-breaking issues. It's kind of just my opinion and things that I think that could be improved or changed. But I just want to open up the discussion. So let me let me know in the comments down below, like what you guys think about some of the things I recommended, your opinion on them, or things that you would like to see change in this game. Again, love this game, have a bunch of hours into it, and I can't wait for more content to be released. If you made it this far, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Until next time.